good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Keertika from the Asian Adventures team. We are a 32-year-old company dedicated to conservation travel experiences across the globe. We are also the founding force behind the Global Wildlife Fair, created as a platform that brings together tourism, conservation, creativity, and dialogue around wildlife and nature. We also initiated the Indian Wildlife Network as a collaborative platform connecting conservationists, storytellers, and nature practitioners across the country. Let me quickly walk you through what you can expect from this webinar. Our speakers will help us understand the changing landscape of human wildlife conflict and why coexistence is becoming a growing conservation challenge. They'll share how storytelling and documentary filmmaking can shape public understanding and inspire conservation action. We'll explore the vital role local communities play in protecting wildlife and promoting coexistence. The session will also take us through the lessons from leopard conservation in the Delhi NCR Aravali landscape, along with a global perspective on wildlife governance. And finally, our speakers will discuss the practical approaches to building a future where the people and wildlife can thrive together. Now, I would like to hand over the session to them to lead us into this very intriguing discussion.
Thank you, Kritika. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining on weekend. I really appreciate your presence here. If you could share the screen as well. Yeah, there we go. So, Kritika, we'll stick to this screen for now. And as I was saying to everybody, Kritika has already mentioned that we're going to be talking about human-wildlife conflict. We're going to be talking about a project called Leopard Shepherd that I have co-founded along with the Wild Tales Foundation in the Delhi NCR landscape. Now, before we begin with my presentation, I want to just talk from my heart, and then we'll get into the whole presentation side of things. So let's begin with a statement that usually makes people uncomfortable. You see, human wildlife conflict, it is not a wildlife problem. Human wildlife conflict is a human design failure. Please keep this in mind. It is a system design failure. You see, the leopard is doing exactly what millions of years of evolution has taught it to do. The elephant is doing exactly what an elephant does. The tiger is behaving like a tiger. We all know this. I think the question is that why have we humans designed a country and designed a system where ordinary people, communities who are living with wildlife, they are expected to absorb the cost of living alongside the wildlife. Across India, there are thousands of people that are injured or worse, killed every year in encounters with wildlife. Entire harvests are disappearing overnight. Families are losing livestock worth months of income. I'll say this again. Thousands of people are injured or killed every year in encounters with wildlife. And when I say thousands, I literally mean thousands. The estimates, the official estimates are anywhere between 35 to 60,000 people since 1972, since the Wildlife Act came into being. When I say harvests are disappearing overnight, according to Gokhale Institute in Pune, Maharashtra is suffering $40 billion worth of crop loss. Now, you see, where wildlife lives, communities live. This is well defined. But when communities have to change the way they live because of laws, policies, and our system designs, for example, when children have to alter the routes that they take to school every day, when women have to wait until daylight to collect water or firewood because darkness is carrying high risks. When farmers are sleeping on watchtowers or machans in the fields through the night, sacrificing the sleep at home simply so that they can protect their crop, which is their source of income. Just imagine for a second being told that every night you must gamble with your safety simply because the system has no better solution. Human wildlife conflict is not a rare occurrence. Maybe for urban Indians, it is a rare occurrence. But for millions of Indians living with wildlife, it's every day. And somehow we have become very, very comfortable with them carrying this burden. You see, when a city floods, it becomes national news. When a bridge collapses, we always ask who failed. When a train derails, commissions are formed. But when a farmer loses another crop, or when a community member living next to wildlife dies, a family member dies, we just simply call it human wildlife conflict. As if it's simply something that just happens, human wildlife conflict. It's as if nobody has actually designed the circumstances that made the inevitable happen. So, what I want to get to eventually is that conflict is not natural, predation is natural, competition is natural, but conflict is the product of a failed system. It is what happens when land use planning ignores ecology, when conservation ignores livelihoods, when development ignores wildlife movement, when compensation strategies are not in place, governance is fragmented, when the people paying the highest price are given the smallest voice. And according to me, the greatest hypocrisy in this entire situation is that we are celebrating conservation success from a distance while outsourcing the cost of it to people who are living next to wildlife. So, when we congratulate ourselves because tiger numbers have increased, because leopard populations have recovered, because elephant ranges are protected, 100% these are achievements which are worth celebrating, no doubt about it. But conservation cannot be called successful if its success is depending on the people living in fear, right? If the only way conservation survives is by asking the poorest of the poorest communities to make endless sacrifices, then we have not solved the problem, we have simply transferred the problem. So, that is just some kind of an introduction I wanted to give to you today. We'll, of course, dive into the presentation right away and we'll keep switching between human wildlife conflict as a meta idea as well as a project while we go through this presentation. But again, welcome. I'm so glad that all of you have come here and thanks for taking out the time. Kritika, if you could kindly go to the next slide, please. Okay. So, our project is called Leopard Shepherd. But I'm going to ask everyone for a small favor before we begin the presentation. Don't think about leopards. Trust me. Instead, look at this handprint. Somebody at some point of time stood on top of this rock, placed their hand against this rock, and then disappeared. They did not leave behind any name. They did not leave behind any kingdom. They did not leave behind any Instagram followers, any WhatsApp groups. I think they left behind one simple question. Will anybody remember that we were here? क्या किसी को याद रहेगा कि हम भी यहाँ थे? And this is not an archaeological question. It is a human question. Why I say this is not an archaeological question? Because this particular rock with these handprints has been discovered on our project site in the village called Kot, where we are working. And according to Archaeological Survey of India, it's anywhere between 10 to 40,000 years old. So it's not an archaeological question. It is a human question. Will anybody remember that we were here? Next slide, please. Modern civilization has become extraordinarily capable of changing the world, yet increasingly uncertain about how to belong with it. बहुत सारे शब्द हैं, ब्रेक डाउन करके समझते हुए चलते हैं. Modern civilization has become extraordinarily capable of changing the world. हमारे पास टेक्नोलॉजी है या जो भी जरिए हैं, बहुत सारे जरिए हैं हमारे पास टू चेंज द वर्ल्ड, yet increasingly uncertain about how to belong with it. हम जो भी कर रहे हैं, हमारी sense of belonging is still taking a hit. This is something that is kind of a principle that formed our ideas behind Leopard Shepherd. Now, just to give you guys a small introduction, my name is Veer Supunya Devavrat. I make wildlife documentaries. I work in conservation. I work in international policy governance with the CITES, with the IUCN, with the International Whaling Commission. And I also specialize in human wildlife conflict situations all over India. And when I say specialize, I don't mean I'm an expert. I mean, I have a very, very keen interest in understanding why and what is happening. You see, I have learned to make not too many assumptions about leopards. Leopards ke baare mein, we should not make any assumptions. And I've learned the same lesson about people, not to make assumptions about humans either. But after spending, say, almost a decade in the wild, I have discovered something very strange. The leopard or the wildlife was never the difficult part. We were, especially urban India. Next slide, please. Now, I usually do this particular presentation with a crowd in front of me, but since today is a webinar, we'll see how that goes. Maybe you guys can reply to my questions in the chat. Raise your hand or reply in the chat if you've ever seen a wild leopard in your life. I'm hoping that I get some chat. Yeah, there we go. Yes, 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 yes. No, that's fine. Yes, so the majority yeses are coming through. Now, a lot of people have seen a leopard, either in national parks, when we go for safaris, etc., etc. It's fantastic. Keep your hand up or keep your yeses up if you've ever had a leopard walk past the front door of your house. Is your answer still the same? Are you still going to say yes? No, no, not yet. I like that answer, not yet. See, majority of the answers now are no. This is exactly what my presentation is about today. Many people have seen leopards, but not many people have to encounter them in the front of their house. Now imagine that to get to school, your child has to walk through the same landscape every morning where the leopard is crossing. This picture that we have taken, my co-speaker today, Yatin, who will come on later, it's a picture taken by him. You can clearly see it's an urban landscape with the wall running at the back, etc., etc. So now imagine that to get to school, your child has to walk through the same landscape that this leopard is walking through. See, we have to make an attempt to imagine this situation. To many, many, many communities in India, that is just an average Monday. That's just another day. It's just another day. Now, people often ask me, कि वीर आप किसकी side पे हो यार? Are you on the side of the leopard or are you on the side of whose side are you on? मैं बोलता था I'm on the side of wildlife. I'm on the always on the side of the leopard. Until I meet the family that's living with the leopard. Once I meet the family that's living with the leopard, I'm usually on the side. And this is the problem. You see, in India, the way the conservation system is designed, it keeps asking us to choose. किसकी साइड पे हो आप? वाइल्ड लाइफ की साइड पे हो आप कि कम्युनिटीज ह्यूमंस की साइड पे हो? आई रिफ्यूज टू डू दिस. आई रिफ्यूज टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस. क्वेश्चन ये नहीं है कि हु इज राइट, इज द लेपर्ड राइट और द ह्यूमंस राइट. दैट इज नॉट द राइट क्वेश्चन. द क्वेश्चन इज हाउ डिड द रिलेशनशिप बिकम सो रॉन्ग. कहाँ ये डिजाइन सिस्टम खराब हुआ कि हमें ये प्रश्न पूछना पड़ा कि आप किसकी साइड पे हो. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. लाइफ इज रिलेशनशिप. बड़ा सिंपल सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी स्टेटमेंट है ये, 3 शब्दों का. लाइफ इज रिलेशनशिप. दिस इज one of the first and primary guiding principles of our project and of all of us that work in this project personally as well. It changed everything for us. क्या है इसका मतलब? लाइफ इज रिलेशनशिप. लाइफ इज रिलेशनशिप इज सिंपल. एवरीथिंग इज अ रिलेशनशिप. आप लोग आज यहाँ पे स्टॉक पे आए, कुछ सुन के गए. आप जो काम पे बैठा है वो घर जाके अपनी फैमिली मेंबर से मिलेगा, नहीं मिलेगा. हर चीज, हर इंटरैक्शन एक रिलेशनशिप है, एक रिश्ता है. So life is relationship. And just like the statement life is relationship, these two subjects in our picture are also sharing a relationship. This girl holding a goat and this leopard who lives in the same landscape as this girl, they are sharing a relationship. So life is relationship. Next slide please. हर रिश्ते में सिर्फ अच्छाइयां तो होती नहीं है. Every relationship has its ups and downs. Now, the relationship between communities who are living with wild animals has the cost to it. And that cost is the cost of conflict. On the left side of the screen, you'll see this dead goat, a shepherd who's tending to the dead goat. In the middle of the screen, you'll see a dead goat from our site in court. And on the right, you'll see these cows slash calves. This goat on the left is approximately worth about 12,000 to 15,000 rupees in the market. And if you go out to buy a cow or a calf, it'll cost you anywhere between 25 to 60,000 rupees. 12,000 to 60,000, this range of money to most people, to urban India, is just another expenditure. हम प्रोडक्ट्स पे, सर्विसेज पे, ट्रैवल पे इस रेंज ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर को यूज करते हैं. बट बहुत लोगों के लिए ना, वो फैमिलीज के लिए जो इन वाइल्ड लाइफ के साथ रहती हैं, फॉर देम दिस 12,000 to 60,000 rupees is the cost of their children's school fees, or it's the cost of the medicine for themselves or their parents, or it's the cost of recurring debt that they are under, farmers are under. And most importantly, it is the cost of their dignity. This is the most important part, dignity. डिग्निटी को हम इकोनॉमिक्स में क्वांटिफाई नहीं कर सकते. वी कैन नॉट क्वांटिफाई इट इनटू नंबर्स. बट द कॉस्ट ऑफ डिग्निटी इज अ वेरी वेरी हार्श वन टू बेयर. You see, something you have to understand is, and something that I have also learned, is that leopards did not destroy lives. They rarely ever destroy somebody's life altogether. What they destroy or can destroy are margins. And जब कोई family या community is already living on the margin, then there isn't much left to lose. Next slide, please. Am I audible? Kritika, can you go to the next slide, please? I don't know if I cannot see the slide or if they are unable to go to the next slide. But we'll, yeah, there we go. So what I was saying was the leopard जो है वो margins को destroy करता है और जो family member margins पे already रह रहे हैं उनके लिए बहुत ही difficult स्थिति बन जाती है ये। देखो, बहुत सिंपल समझने की बात है। एक dead goat leads to one angry family. One angry family leads to one frightened village. And one frightened village equals this particular photo that you see, one dead leopard. And let me tell you, nobody wants this ending to happen. Not the family who's living with the leopard, not the forest department, not the conservationists like you and I, certainly not the leopard. Nobody wants this ending. तो बहुत बारी क्या है, मेरे से लोग पूछते हैं व्हाई डू विलेजर्स किल लेपर्ड्स, व्हाई डू विलेजर्स किल वाइल्ड लाइफ। ऐसा क्या हो जाता है दैट रिटेलिएशन इस लेवल का हो जाता है दैट दे नीड टू इंडल्ज इन किलिंग। You see, it's the wrong question you're asking. Why do villagers kill leopards is the wrong question that we are asking. The real question is, why did we leave these villagers believing that they had no other choice except to retaliate? ऐसा क्या डिजाइन सिस्टम में फ्लॉ है कि हमने इनको और कोई चॉइस ही नहीं दिया? एंड दैट इज वेयर कंजर्वेशन बिगिंस। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। सो व्हाट इज लेपर्ड शेपर्ड? Leopard Shepherd is a project that happens before the conflict occurs, not after. Now, when Leopard Shepherd koi sunta hai na, to people think that this will be about leopards. This project is about leopards. It's not about leopards. It's not about shepherds also. This project that we're doing is about trust. You see, you have to understand कि दुनिया में nobody changes their behavior because एक conservationist ने उनको बोला change your behavior. Let's be honest, most of us don't even change our behavior when the doctor tells us to change our behavior. The only way behavior can change is if trust exists. अगर आप मुझे ट्रस्ट करते हो और मैं आपको ट्रस्ट करता हूं तो हम एक दूसरे की सुनेंगे when it comes to changing our behavior patterns. So trust. Now, in Leopard Shepherd, in our project, the photos that you see in front of you, these 6 photographs, these are roughly the 6 parameters that I will run you through. They cover what our project is about, what we plan to do in the first year of our project. But remember what I say about trust. It is about trust, this project. Next slide, please. So Tejveer Mavi, he is our lead coordinator of our project at Leopard Shepherd. He's born and raised in Court. And I like to call him a certified expert of grandmother maps. भाई क्या होता है grandmother maps? This is very important to understand. ये terminology बहुत सोच समझ के बनाइए. Grandmother maps is the exceptional ability to know every family, every community member, every field, every shortcut, every place where the child we know. Now it's better. Okay. So every place where we know where the child is playing. And most importantly, know where the leopard is crossing every day. So it's not as great as Google Maps, but it is something that is exceptional. That's why I like to call it grandmother maps. Next slide, please. What all Tejveer can tell me, no satellite in the world can give me that information. No artificial intelligence can tell me that. Only a relationship with Tejveer can tell me that. So, next slide, please. Yeah. So the first parameter was forming a relationship with the local community, which we just saw through Tejveer. The next parameter for us at Leopard Shepherd is children, the next generation. Why? Because children, they do not inherit landscapes, they inherit our relationship with them. इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब है, एक बार सोचो आप खुद, wherever you all were born, did you inherit the landscape or did you inherit the relationship that you built with that landscape? The memories that you make in a landscape are your relationship. Otherwise, anybody can be born anywhere. The landscape doesn't really matter. What matters is the relationship you share with them. So, children for us at Leopard Shepherd are extremely important because they are the next generation. So, through multiple school programs, awareness programs, social design systems, innovative thinking, and including children, we are going to build our project Leopard Shepherd. The next slide, please. Science. Of course, science के बिना क्या ही होता है वाइल्ड लाइफ कंजर्वेशन. So at Leopard Shepherd, we will use science through camera traps, through conflict mapping, through monitoring, through evidence collection. We will use all of these different parameters of science to quantify our solutions, to quantify our data, to prepare our reports. Science matters, guys. Science के बिना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है काम. But it's important to note here that compassion without evidence becomes opinion, and evidence without compassion becomes bureaucracy. What does this mean? What exactly do you think this means? You see, compassion without evidence becomes opinion. इसका मतलब है that we make decisions because they feel right, not because we know that they are right. So compassion without evidence is an opinion. And evidence without compassion becomes bureaucracy. इसका मतलब है that we can collect all the reports in the world. We can write all the papers, research papers in the world. We can hold meetings in air-conditioned rooms. But if the family that has lost its livelihood is still feeling unheard, then it is simply bureaucracy. It is just paperwork. So compassion without evidence becomes opinion, and evidence without compassion becomes bureaucracy. Next slide, please. Now, something that surprised me in my decade long work with human wildlife conflict in India, and I say this with a lot of confidence because I have spoken easily to over a lakh and a half people face to face who are facing human wildlife conflict. Something that surprised me was that many families who are living with wild leopards or predators, they don't even know that they might be eligible for compensation. Or maybe they don't know who to call, or maybe they don't know what documentation they need. Now, for most of you, I'm pretty sure you guys know that there's a compensation strategy that exists in our wildlife conservation landscape. But for those who don't know, the Wildlife Protection Act allows for compensation to be given to anybody and everybody affected by wildlife attacks, especially in the cases of livestock. But in our site, especially in court in the Aravallis, we found that लोगों को पता ही नहीं है that they are eligible for compensation. है ना? And let's be honest, when it comes to government paperwork can actually scare more people than leopards scare people. So it's important to understand that sometimes our job is not simply rescuing wildlife, but rather helping a shepherd fill out a simple form. Another thing to note here is that at Leopard Shepherd, we are not the ones who are writing the check of compensation. हम check लिख के नहीं दे रहे हैं. We are merely making sure that people know that the check exists in the first place. When people know that the system can work for them and not against them, then they are far less likely to believe that retaliation is their only option. अब retaliation जब मैं शब्द बोलता हूँ, go back to that picture of the leopard and the humans hitting it with sticks. Maybe वो जो लोग थे, उनको पता ही नहीं था that the system can work for them. Hope thus becomes a conservation strategy. होप इज नॉट जस्ट समथिंग जो हम कॉन्वर्सेशन में एक दूसरे को बोल देते हैं. आई होप दिस बिकम्स बेटर, आई होप दिस बैड थिंग स्टॉप्स हैपनिंग. इट्स नॉट जस्ट अ कॉन्वर्सेशनल वर्ड. Hope is actually a conservation strategy altogether. Hope is a design system that we must help integrate into the minds of those communities that are suffering from the conflict. Especially because right now across India, not just in the Aravallis, hope is at an all time low for many, many communities. People have lost hope. One thing that we must understand now is that hope can be directly related to another word called tolerance/intolerance. जैसे जैसे एक कम्युनिटी का होप कम होते जाएगा, वैसे वैसे उसी कम्युनिटी का इंटॉलरेंस बढ़ता जाएगा टुवर्ड्स वाइल्ड लाइफ. So hope thus must be integrated into the minds of these communities who are suffering. Next slide, please. Another parameter that we have at Leopard Shepherd is the landscape itself. We are not mapping just leopards. We are mapping much more than just leopard movement. We are mapping people. We are mapping water. We are mapping memory. We are mapping sacred places. Why? Because landscapes cannot just be deemed as ecological. Landscapes are cultural as well. There is a science behind the culture as well. So we must map much more than just where is the leopard, what is it doing, etc., etc., etc. Next slide, please. So at Leopard Shepherd, we are not trying to create better leopards or more leopards. I think the leopards are doing a fantastic job of that already. What we are trying to do is create better relationships. Without creating relationships, no conservation succeeds. In fact, conservation can only succeed when communities no longer need conservationists like you and me, or like biologists and researchers and filmmakers. Only then can conservation succeed. Next slide, please. So I hope Leopard Shepherd as a project fails. Now you must be thinking, what the hell is wrong with this guy? He has founded an entire project and now he's hoping that it fails. But no, I am not crazy. देखो, एक बात समझने की बहुत जरूरत होती है that अगर आज से 20 साल बाद, if 20 years from now, Leopard Shepherd project still needs Veer Supunya Devavrat or Yatin Verma, then we have failed. If 20 years from now, Leopard Shepherd still needs you and me talking about this project, we have failed. If it still needs funding from people who are themselves sitting in air conditioned rooms, then we have definitely failed. Now, what we do in India is, or rather all over the world when it comes to wildlife conservation, we keep creating projects instead of creating independence. That is our biggest mistake. हम लोग projects को celebrate करते हैं, जबकि हमें celebrate करना चाहिए the day that a project is no longer needed. That is a success. When the project is complete, तभी तो success होगा. Next slide, please. So what I'm trying to say is that the purpose of leadership is to make itself obsolete. Real leadership in wildlife conservation does not create followers. Real leadership creates people who no longer need you. That is what real leadership is. Next slide, please. So when people ask me that, Veer, what does success look like then? If you have started a project and उसका मतलब आपको खत्म ही करना है at the end of it, तो success को define कैसे करोगे? Success is not another leopard. Like I said, the people who are working on leopard conservation, predator conservation are doing a fabulous job. Their numbers are growing constantly. Populations are growing constantly. So we don't need another leopard. That is not success. What India needs is the next shepherd. What India needs is the next Tejveer, or the next scientist, or the next teacher, or the next filmmaker, or the next child, all of whom collectively believe that wildlife is not just somebody else's responsibility. Wildlife is not just the responsibility of the communities who are living with them and suffering from them. It is their responsibility. It is our responsibility. देखो हम कितनी भी बातें कर सकते हैं, कितने भी वेबिनार्स पे आ सकते हैं, there can be lots and lots of things. But one thing to understand is that once this call ends and the day ends, then tomorrow morning, the shepherds that we are talking about, they are going to wake up. The shepherd will wake up once again. His livestock will also wake up once again. The leopard will also wake up once again. And they will all walk into the same landscape as they already do. So the question was never, can they coexist? Can we coexist? How to coexist? We already do. We already coexist. The question should be that can the rest of us build a country, build a design system, a conservation system which is worthy of that relationship? That should be the right question, not coexistence. Coexistence to ho hi raha hai. You know, so it's all about dignity at Leopard Shepherd. It's all about trust at Leopard Shepherd. It's all about creating relationships at Leopard Shepherd. Every system which is perfectly designed to produce the result it currently produces, if conflict continues year after year, it is not because communities are failing. It is because the system is succeeding at producing exactly what it was designed to produce. This means our policies, our laws, the way urban India thinks about wildlife, the way we approach wildlife, the way we ignore the communities that live with wildlife. That is, I think, the idea behind Leopard Shepherd. Next slide, please. So, rethinking human leopard coexistence in an urbanizing India. I thank you all for your time and I apologize for all the problems with the internet. I'll uh, get it over to Yatin now. Thank you, everybody.
With such an interesting discussion, we now move to the second part of the webinar where Yakin sir would be leading us into the intriguing discussion, telling us more about the topic we are there in discussion.
Hi. My name is Yatin. So this was the first leopard that we clicked in Delhi, and we named it Drona. So I met this leopard in Mangar village, at the boundary of Mangar and Silakhedi. So since 2016 we were on an hunt. Basically हम लोग ढूंढ रहे थे एक लेपर्ड का साइटिंग करने का कोशिश कर रहे थे दिल्ली एनसीआर में, एंड ऑन 30th December 2020 we got to see our first leopard that we named Drona. So this is not from that sighting, but it's the same. It is the same leopard. And then I'll show you this leopards from different locations. So this is the first female leopard that we encountered in Delhi NCR in Silakhedi village, that is next to Court only. And we saw her once only, and since then we are not able to see her. And then this is again the cliff where I saw the first leopard Drona. He's sleeping over here, if you can see. Perfectly camouflaged with the Ravli rocks and all. This is a recent female leopard that we are tracking in Damdama Lake, and she is very beautiful and bold. This one is from Sakatpur. If anybody knows about Sakatpur or Leopard Trail, this is also a female. We have seen her grow cubs and do everything around this area, hunting and any other thing, stalking, hunting, basking. So again, another leopard from Silakhedi, a male one. This is from 2022. And these are the first cub that we clicked in Delhi, Asola Bhati. So first time the cubs came in front of our camera, and actually we got 4 leopards, one male, one female, and these 2 cubs together in one frame also. And this photo shows us how close we live to the leopard. So there are a lot of people that come to this spot to enjoy Maggie, momos, and everything. And simultaneously, leopard also comes to this cliff and view the urban population of Gurgaon. So after all these years, in 10 years, after all these 10 years, 2016 to 2026, हम लोगों ने जैसे जैसे हम ट्रैक करते रहे तो वी बिल्ड अ रिलेशनशिप विद लोकल कम्युनिटीज एंड एक चीज जो हमें पता चली कि यहाँ पे कंपनसेशन नहीं मिलता यार मतलब there is a loss every week or after every 3-4 days there is a loss that is being reported in some or the other village of Gurgaon or Faridabad or Delhi but there is no but there is a compensation by the government but people of this region don't know about it and then we started helping few people. So we figured it out that we should talk about this composition scheme from with the people, or else wrong things may start getting may start. And then this incident is from 2024. A leopard came inside a shepherd's resident and killed 7 of his goats. And the loss was more than a lakh rupees, like not more than a lakh, around a lakh rupees. As the goat is like around 15,000 per goat, and 7 of them were killed. And then we helped this shepherd to get the compensation and did the paperwork. And this was the first time in last 10 years in Haryana a composition was given for a leopard kill, and first time in this area. So these are few post-mortem reports. There is a lot of paperwork that is needs to be done before applying for a composition, and that is also a very tough task for a shepherd to do. So here in Leopard Shepherd, we are making a toolkit kind of thing for these shepherds and helping few shepherds to get their paperwork on time and perfect. So this is a post-mortem report, another post-mortem report. And so how many of you know there was a leopard tragedy in 2016 in Gurgaon? So a group in a village close to Court only, Mandawar, the people over there killed the leopard in front of forest department and media. So you can see the amount of fear on the face of the families that was living around that situation. So this guy caught the leopard and got himself injured in the process, and you can see here. So what he did, he took his hand, put it in leopard के मुंह में इसने अपना हाथ घुसाया, leopard ने bite करा, and then everyone that was close to him jumped on the leopard and captured it. And you can see these things, the fear in the eyes of humans and also the leopard. So this is all 2016 Gurgaon. Then they killed the leopards, and then this scene happened. So here in Leopard Shepherd, we are trying to stop these incidents that will happen. This was not due to any compensation or thing, but the people of this village got surprised by seeing the leopard at that time. And then eventually things happened. There was a crowd that came to see the leopard, and then leopard started attacking few humans to run so that he can run away, but he was unable to run away, and that led to this. So you can see similar.
I think with this, we come to an end of this session, this webinar. And now we will be moving to the Q&A session. The participants are requested to type their questions in the chat box, and we'll be taking the questions from there. So the first question, I think, am I audible?
Hello.
Yes,
Am
sir,
I
you're
audible?
audible. Yes, sir, you're now audible.
That was my time. I wanted to share that much only.
Okay.
You guys can continue.
So,
I think
okay.
there is a signal
We
problem
sir,
at my place. Wi-Fi turned off.
so we have some questions. So I think first question we'll take is of Mr. Salil. He wants to ask, can we keep earthworks in the evening at court? Is it like viable or possible to do the same?
Ma'am, can you repeat it? I didn't get it properly.
The question
Yes,
is it
yes,
possible
it's
to
possible. Yeah, Salil, we can keep the walk in court also, earthworks in court also. Yatin, he's asking if it's possible to keep the walk in court.
Yes, yes, it is possible. We are doing our first walk on 1st August. Then after that, we can do a walk with you guys also over there. Happy to host you guys.
participants, in case of any more questions, please type it out in the chat box. So, okay, next question is by Pragya. She wants to ask the location of court. Like where exactly is court situated?
So court is in Faridabad. It's on Faridabad Gurgaon border, right next to your Mangar, and between Mangar and Damdama. Damdama is in Gurgaon, Mangar is in Faridabad, and court is somewhere between them. It's like 6 kilometers from Mangar, we can say.
Okay.
Yes,
There's a
cab
follow-up.
goes to the location. Cab goes to the location.
So the next question is by Aarti ma'am. She wants to ask, how can we contribute to leopard shepherd?
Soil, sir.
Okay, thanks, Yatin. I'll take this question. It's a great question, actually. Aarti, ma'am, so happy to hear this question. Actually, the Leopard Shepherd project is a multidisciplinary project, and all the collaborators and team members come with some specific skills. Right? For say example, Yatin has great field skills. Uh, Veer is our policy fundraising and media person, and I'm doing the community programs. We have a community liaison. We have a biologist, researcher working on this. But apart from this, the project will require many talents. By that, by, by that I mean that people are going to, for the successful project, we need to bring in a lot of people with different talents. We have to, for example, come up with a safety protocol handbook and practitioner's handbook to scale this project in other villages in the leopard corridor. So we will need people with English skills. We'll need people with project management skills for just this handbook. So as the project grows, we will need a lot of hard and soft skills that will be required. So that is one way you can get attached to the project. You can talk to me, Yatin, anybody, and figure out what is it that you will bring to the table in terms of the contribution that you can do. Or a simpler way is we offer volunteership and internship where people can get attached, and as and when we are doing a project, we give you responsibilities and of course a certificate and a letter of recommendation at the end of it. So it depends on how you want to get connected.
Yes, and sorry, I'm just gonna chime in for one more second here, adding to what Suhail said. Except for the technical aspect of things, I think the very first thing that we should do is we should try and change the way we look at conflict as well. From everything that Yatin showed you and everything that I tried to, get across when it comes to relationships, when a leopard is entering a village, it's not simply a wildlife story, it's also a human story. So, again, step one would also be that we ask communities that are bearing all the costs and everybody else is enjoying all the benefits. We look at the communities and the human story as well.
That was indeed that was indeed a very detailed answer to a very vital question, I would say. And with this, we move to the next question by Ms. Priyanka. Ma'am wants to ask. Her question is that are we forcing ourselves to coexist with the wild, where I feel like somehow we are entering their space? So, experts, your comment on this?
Well, I'll go first, and then Veer and Yatin can chime in. as they see fit. This is in my books, it's a very archaic idea of, looking at nature, wildlife very simply by saying that, oh, are we encroaching into their space and how can we talk about coexistence when we are taking away their forests? It is a reality that is happening. Our government, the whole system, the setup is such that we can't oppose development first. So yes, we are at most places breaching into wild spaces and taking away space from the leopard. But on the other hand, like Veer is saying, it's also a human story. These shepherds have been roaming these hills for years and years. In court, there are human examples of human settlements going back thousands of years, right? So it's a very old site inhabited by the humans. And for all this while, humans have cohabited, these shepherds have cohabited with the leopard. Leopard is not only found in protected areas, it's found outside protected areas also. In fact, I would go as far as saying there are more leopards outside of protected areas than inside of protected areas. Uh, so we can't just keep looking at it and saying that, oh, we need to give them space. We have to start talking about coexistence. How can we make the fast changing landscape of Delhi NCR? How can we make it livable for both the leopard and the shepherd community? It's not just that the leopards are disappearing, it's also the shepherds that are disappearing. We have to remember that. And it's the age old traditional livelihood that we are taking away from these people through our development, as we are taking away the leopard's home. So if we work for the leopard's home, we will be working for the shepherd's home also, and vice versa. So it's not a problem that should be looked in with this isolation bent of mind.
Yeah, spot on, Sohail. Guys, one thing we must understand is that there is no wildlife space which is separate from people in this country. It is a lived landscape. Wildlife doesn't exist in a vacuum. Every conservation landscape that exists in a country, it already belongs to someone. And if we are entering the field of wildlife conservation, we must remember that we are a guest in both nature and in someone else's home. These all over India communities have lived, whether you look at tribes, Begas, Pardis, any and everybody who the community who lives with wildlife has lived with them for generations. It's not something that is suddenly happening now or suddenly happening due to development.
Yes. And like if these shepherds are gone, then what will the Delhi NCR leopard will eat? There is no natural. There is a food base, natural food base, but not a strong food base over here. So you have to think for them also. And their villages and all are before your Wildlife Protection Act came. So they are there, and we have to think about both of the things यार. मतलब सिर्फ leopard बचाने से leopard नहीं बचेगा, और हर जगह हम नहीं घुस रहे.
Thank you, experts, for stating the facts as they are and bringing out the reality to us. So, the upcoming few questions are regarding how people can connect via websites and social media for with the Leopard Shepherd initiative. So, for them, I would like to tell the participants that after this webinar gets over, the details of the whole initiative would be shared with you. But experts, if you want to speak about something related to it, you can. The stage is yours definitely to express it.
Is there a question there somewhere?
Yeah, people are asking the website or Instagram, like social media handle, as in
So
how
right,
can
right now, right now, there's a Instagram page called Leopard Shepherd. Most of the information is posted there only. Uh, if you have any questions, well, I would urge everybody to like follow that page. But if you have any questions, you can send us a message on Instagram, and we will get in touch with you directly in terms of volunteership or internship that might be offered at that time.
And
So
all
with this,
the things related to the walk, next walk, will be uploaded on that page only. So few people are asking about the walk thing, so we'll upload that on the page, and you can go forward with from there.
participants, I think you are, please do not forget to follow the Instagram page for more updates. And with this, will be taking up one last question by Mr. Nishan, who says that recent studies show that relocating conflict levels often does not reduce conflict and it may even increase it in new areas. What evidence-based options should we prioritize for long-term conflict reduction?
Yeah, I think that's a fabulous question, Nishant. Super important question. It's something that we are witnessing again and again. We keep relocating wildlife, and one person's problem becomes another person's problem, and of course, a permanent problem for the wildlife as well. See, the evidence increasingly tells us that relocation is a reactive tool, right? It's not a long-term strategy. If we want lasting solutions or reductions in conflict, we have to first address why the conflict is happening in the first place. Now, you can do that through improving livestock protection, for example. You can do it through ensuring rapid and fair compensation strategies, strengthening, say, early warning systems, or designing infrastructure and settlements with the wildlife in mind. And maybe most importantly, building trust with the communities who are living with wildlife every day. Because you are going to have to save leopards and you are going to have to save the communities. Both populations are going up. So while relocating is often not reducing conflict, creating a relationship between wherever you relocate an animal and the community that you relocated with is the way to go. So again, relationship formation, that is what it is. And just I'd like to add one more point. we are we always ask that how do we manage leopards. I think again the better question is that how do we manage the relationship between people and leopards. Conflict is not, conflict is rarely caused by the animal alone. It's actually shaped by the land use patterns, by governance, by incentives that are given to livelihoods. And also, how quickly do institutions respond when the communities are bearing the cost? So that is what Leopard Shepherd is built around, the entire idea. It's not just to simply prevent leopard attacks, it's to create a landscape where communities have the tools and the support and the confidence and agency to live more safely alongside wildlife. I hope that answers your question.
And since I think the participants have actually found the topic very interesting, there are a few more questions that we will take. The next one is by Aarti ma'am. She says that in the last 10 years of your study, has the forest area reduced? If yes, how much? And has it increased the number of conflicts?
Okay, so we need to understand something. मतलब जो अपने यहाँ पे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है ना, दैट इज नॉट ड्यू टू द फॉरेस्ट एरिया. काफी कुछ 10 साल से पहले भी होता था. लाइक अर्ली 2000 वाज द एरा ऑफ माइनिंग एंड ऑल. तब एरिया बहुत कम हुआ, फिर माइनिंग बैन हुआ तो एरिया थोड़ा और बड़ा उनके लिए. So definitely the area is getting shorter due to the urban expansion, but the conflict here is due to the prey base absence. The major conflict over here is, so we don't have deer or like a sufficient prey base, wild prey base or leopard to hunt on. So the conflict is rising due to leopards are hunting on livestock. Due to that, the villagers are getting angry, or there is a sense of retaliation, or maybe in coming years or coming months, you will see some retaliation that may happen, because the amount of loss they are going through is extremely high. Like in court only, every shepherd has lost almost more than 20 goats in a year, or around 20 goats or 10-15 goats in a year due to leopard only. So sometimes it doesn't eat it; it just kill and go from the place because of the disturbance that humans do after he makes a kill. So we are looking about things on that notice, that thing, that part, the conflict that is rising.
With this, we finally take the one last question that is for Mr. Kishan. He's asking if the carrying capacity is full, if the prey base is also adequate, what else can be done other than relocation?
Super question. Super question. Mr. Kishan, I would say that carrying capacity is only one part of the equation. See, human tolerance, jo hai na, that also has a carrying capacity. You can have enough prey, enough suitable habitat. But if a leopard is repeatedly killing livestock, entering settlements, or posing an risk to people, then conflict can still occur. So I think for us at Leopard Shepherd, when I said that science matters, for us the first step is to identify the individual animal, understand its behavior. Is it a transient dispersing leopard? Is it a resident leopard? Is conflict being driven by poor livestock management, waste, human behavior? These questions matter more before deciding on an intervention, is what I believe. And when it comes to relocation, it might be appropriate in very exceptional cases, but it cannot be our default response. The long term solution is reducing the drivers of conflict through better livestock protection and rapid responses, and community engagement, land use planning. This is what we believe is the right way to think about this particular situation.
Thank you, experts. With this, we come to an end of this session. And first of all, I would really like to thank V sir, Yakin sir, and Sohail sir for taking out your immense valuable time and introducing us to this initiative of Leopard Shepherd. Definitely, I think the participants are really interested. We can see their reaction in the comment section. And you will definitely get a lot of requests from people regarding the same and volunteering and internship opportunities as well. They'll be looking forward in the Leopard Shepherd organization. So, and participants, do not forget to follow our Instagram page for more such webinars. And we definitely cannot wait to see you in the upcoming IWN meet that will be held in Ahmedabad on Sunday, that is 26th. So, for more conservation stories, for more such interesting stories, and also hearing experts from the same field, we hope to see you in Ahmedabad next. And before we sign off, a quick note from our side that at Asian Adventures, the Global Wildlife Fair, the Indian Wildlife Network, and Earthworks, we believe that meaningful conversations are the starting point for meaningful conservations. We hope that today's webinar offers fresh perspective, valuable insights, and inspiration that you carry forward in your everyday life. Thank you for joining us and being the part of this growing community. We look forward to welcome you to another session super soon. Thank you, everyone. A very good evening.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank you,
V.
guys.
Thanks, Satyan.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Everyone.